Manufacturing PMI over the weekend fell slightly. Is that a sign, do you think, of the reaction of weakening growth, more to do with the New Year break or otherwise?
I think it's probably a bit of both, John. The PMI for February came in at 50.2, down from 50.5 in January. So it's still slightly above the 50 mark, which separates improving from deteriorating conditions. It still points to a slight deterioration, a slight sort of deceleration in the manufacturing sector. Big question is this to do with February, which this year had the Chinese New Year holiday, or is this a reflection of genuine problems in the manufacturing sector?
And we've got the services, Tom, earlier on again, services PMI. What's the reaction to that?
The services sector is actually doing slightly better. February PMI has rebounded to 55, up from a record low of 53 in January. Some evidence that the domestic economy, the services sector, which of course the government wants to play a bigger role in driving growth, is actually doing slightly better.
And of course, the yuan has been weakening significantly in the last week. Again, clearly concerns about whether the government or PBOC is intervening in that. We have the MPC kicking off this week. What does all of this mean, Tom, again, for the government's broader growth strategy?
I think on the yuan, one of the concerns is that a weakening yuan is a reflection of lower investor confidence in China. My view is actually it's part of a deliberate strategy by the People's Bank of China. They're trying to push the yuan lower to punish speculators for taking one-way bets on yuan appreciation, and that's a preface to a strategic policy move, which is widening the yuan's trading band to allow the yuan to move more freely, to allow the markets to play a bigger role in setting the value of the currency. On the National People's Congress, which is kicking off on Wednesday, I think the main focus of attention is going to be on the growth target for the year. The central expectation is that Li Keqiang, in his first work report to the NPC, is going to set a target of 7.5% growth, unchanged from last year. But there are some economists who are talking about perhaps a 7% target, perhaps a range from 7% to 7.5%, to give the government a little bit more flexibility to push through painful reforms without having to worry too much about pumping up growth.
And Tom, you live in Beijing. You talk about painful reforms. What is painful, of course, is the atmosphere. How big a deal, how important is it that the pollution issue is top of the agenda at this NPC?
I think in terms of public satisfaction with the government, pollution is coming right to the top of the agenda. It's very visible. The air in Beijing is grainy, visibility is low, there's a smell of coal in the air. It's a kind of in-your-face problem. I think the issue for the government is that China's economy is a coal-based economy. The vast majority of energy is coming from coal. It's also an urbanizing economy. It's an economy where more and more people are driving cars. And so dealing with this problem is just extremely intractable for the government.